Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm good. We're like a minute to air, but
Okay.
thank you so much for doing the show. And is it? Tell me how to pronounce your first name.
Meiyoko.
Oh, I had it. Good, sweet.
Let me throw some wine on that.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. I'm still clearly adjusting to the afternoon because I keep wanting to say good morning out of habit because the show used to be in the morning, but I'm working on it. I'm broadcasting live this afternoon via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio and Television and Facey and YouTube. I am very excited that I was able to get Meiyoko Taylor on this morning. I was going to say good morning. I was going to say this morning. I want to say this afternoon. I want to say hi to everybody who's loading up in the chat on Facey. How are you this afternoon? It's going to be really hard to do this afternoon thing. Talk about like creatures of habit, right?
You'll get used to it.
Really excited to have him on the show. He is an author, success coach, and trajectory changer. I like that. And he's going to talk to us today about find your amazing business and entrepreneurship success and mindset self-improvement. And here's the thing. Nice to meet you too. I do all different kinds of topics here on Money Talk with Melanie, and every now and then I get the opportunity to do something like this. I call it a little lighter, but in a lot of ways, it isn't lighter information. I just mean it's not a nuts and bolts, taxes or finance policy or talking about the Fed or something like that.
You get a break from that today.
Getting a break from that today because listen, this stuff about self-improvement, about feeling empowered, about fear, and the things that we're going to talk about today. This stuff is so important to your success. About harmony, life balance, building your brand. All of these things are really important to business success, and it is rarely ever talked about, particularly in a show like mine, which is business oriented. But I feel like that aspect, that personal aspect, is kind of avoided a lot of times as a topic. I'm not sure why, because I think it's a really important part. But you don't find it in any business book anywhere. I've read more than I want to more than I want to admit to. But before we get to that, a bit of housekeeping as usual, and of course the Money Talk news report. Very exciting news in Apple world, which, as you guys know, I am an Apple chick. Yes. Oh, hey Kevin Stuckey, how are you, darling? Darker information. Funny. So let's do a bit of housekeeping. Of course, I want to thank today's sponsors, Eva Rosenberg, aka the Tax Mama, who was on the show yesterday. And if you missed it, be on the lookout for my In Case You Missed It post. It was a really, she was very informative as always. And she was my first sponsor, one of the first people to step up and sponsor my show. So, which was just very, very kind of her. Appreciate that about her so very much. She's always been just a huge supporter of mine. So I love her to death for that. Okay, just changing things around a little bit. Love her to death for that. So we want to thank the Tax Mama. I want to thank her for being on the show and thank her for being a sponsor. I also, of course, want to thank David Barnett from businessbuyeradvantage.com. I've mentioned a few times I will eventually have him on the show, but he's a busy guy. But I'm going to have him back on the show very shortly. But in the meantime, you want to go to businessbuyeradvantage.com and check out his books, 21 Stupid Things People Do When Trying to Buy a Business, and also Franchise Warnings. And I didn't mention the Tax Mama's books, which are award-winning books, Small Business Taxes Made Easy and Deduct Everything. If you want to know in advance who's going to be on my show, the best way to do that is to follow me on social media at MoneyTalk Mel on Twitter, or on Facebook at Money Talk with Melanie is my Twitter handle. If you want to email me, I'll give you 3 guesses as to what the address is. MoneyTalkWithMelanie@gmail.com. If you'd like to email me, suggest a topic for the 5 minutes of personal finance, which I think is going to end up being once a week. And I didn't do it yet this week, but I'll get on that. Maybe next week we'll start that, since we're like on a new time and new format and all that stuff. And when Ron Edwards gets going with his new show, he has a new show coming out. And if you don't know who Ron Edwards is, listen up during the break, because the Ron Edwards notebook is going to be played during the break. But he has a new show starting very soon. And one of the things it will be featuring is Melanie's Money Talk moment on his show. So kind of like exchanging minutes on each other's show. Got to support each other. Very important. There's enough room for everybody. I don't believe in that whole, like, this person's the competition, so don't do anything with them. Collaboration is much more important in my mind. There's enough for everybody. So I'm looking forward to doing Melanie's Money Talk Minute on the Ron Edwards show, and listen up for the Ron Edwards notebook during the break. Now, I only have 4 minutes left before said break, and we got to talk. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me calm down for a second. Let me calm myself for a moment. Here's the thing. In the Money Talk news report today, Apple has a new phone out. And those of you who already follow me, and Apple sucks. Get off my feed. Kevin Stuckey, what are you talking about? Anyway, any of you guys that know me know that I also am an adjunct professor. I teach computers. I taught computers for a year at a high school level. Let's just suffice it to say, I'm a nerd, okay?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I taught computer programming for the last 3 years before I switched to the media. I taught it last year as an adjunct professor. I did not like it on the college level, so I really won't do that again unless I have to. Hey, Deontay Johnson. But meanwhile, I teach computing environments. But I said all that to say that when a new Apple phone comes out, I'm a little hyped.
Hopefully it's all this cracked up to me.
Listen, I hear it's all that. Like, I'm so excited. Now, I mean, $1,000 for a phone doesn't seem like that much, does it? I really need sponsors. Listen up. Just saying, if you want to sponsor me, I'll write your name on it and make sure that I use it during the show. But there's $1,000 iPhone coming out, the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus. So, and it's coming out in October. I am super duper excited about that. I need to get an additional radio show or something to pay for it. But I'm like so excited about that. In other news, and so actually, let me backtrack. Deontay Johnson, who's in the chat, and Facey, who is the president of the Black Conservative Federation, of whom I am a senior advisor of the organization, but called me today and was like, Melanie, the new iPhone. And I was like, dude, I didn't even get to it today. I haven't heard about it. He's like, yeah, it's everything, basically. What's the conversation? And we were both trying to like kind of brainstorm and think of ways how we're going to pay for that. But because we're both tech junkies. But anyway,
so
are you? You're a tech junkie
yes.
Too? Meiyoko, a girl a man after my own heart, for real.
Tech junkie.
I love the technology. It makes your life easier. It's more efficient. It's really really, it's really about being efficient in business. It's totally not about being addicted to technology.
It's having your company, in the palm of your hand.
Yes. Yes. How people live without them. How people are like, oh, I don't text. I don't have an iPhone. Like, what? I don't have a smartphone. You don't? How? I don't know. But in a little bit sadder news, Equifax has been hit with 30 lawsuits, and justifiably so. Wow. Apparently, they had a data breach. 143 million customers were exposed. Right. That's ridiculous. So they have lawsuits, and there are going to be more. What's probably going to happen is that it's going to turn into a daggone class action. I kind of hope that that doesn't happen, because people won't get as much money. I'm just saying. But that's the other thing. I know. Aside from there being a new iPhone out, which to me is really basically the news of the day. Nothing
else matters. Just the iPhone.
Exactly. Nothing else matters. And I'm still trying to think of a way to justify an Apple Watch. Now my Garmin just broke. So I think I may be able, and believe me, this is not professional Money Talk with Melanie advice. This is purely a want, not responsible spending. I just want to be clear about that. This is not an example of responsible spending by any stretch of the imagination. Anywho, you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And in about 5 minutes, we will be back with Meiyoko Taylor, who is going to talk to us about business success. I'm very excited about that. We'll be back in a few moments.
The worst natural disaster in U.S. history has brought out the best in many Americans. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Report, in recent years, Americans have been more divided than any time since perhaps the Civil War. 49% of Americans clamor for a Venezuelan form of government. Even the Congressional Black Caucus members annually trek to Cuba for training on how to overthrow our constitutional republic form of government. 51% of Americans still believe in the possibility of an America that can be greater than ever. But when it comes down to it, we learn from natural disasters like the record-breaking hurricane of 2017 that no matter what, as Americans, we are at our best when we work together to find the best solutions to whatever challenges we face. Good and decent Americans from all sectors of society reflect the true nature of our republic. Sir Winston Churchill once said, "These are times that try men's souls." That certainly applies to those who have had to endure the loss of home, jobs, and in some cases, their very lives. But through it all, what may come out of this historic disaster is a reemergence of people learning how to reach out to one another and find real solutions that benefit our republic as opposed to destroying her. What was geared towards disaster may in many ways inspire a true rebirth of our republic. I'm Ron Edwards.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes. The tax benefits of different forms of financing, spot and fix errors in the 1099s, legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Start deducting today. Visit TaxMama.com. TaxMama.com. That's TaxMama with 1M.com.
And we're back. You are listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. And I am so happy to have with me today. And by the way, if you, let me backtrack. I'm happy to have with me today, Meiyoko Taylor. And I was about to say, if you want to, I'm streaming live on Facebook, but I also, if you would like to see Meiyoko and myself together, the best way to do that is to go to SHR Media's YouTube channel, or I'm actually about to post a link on Facebook if you'd rather look at that. That way you can see both of us, trying to make it as convenient as possible for people to see us, chat with us. If you have a question, put it in the chat. And good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for accepting my very delayed request. I usually don't book guests quite this late.
No problem. I took advantage of the opportunity any way that I can add value to your listeners and to you. I mean, I'm all for it, so I'm here.
I loved the theme of your book, which the name of your book is Find Your Amazing Business and Entrepreneurship Success and Mindset Self-Improvement. Now, a lot of times business people kind of don't want to hear this fuzzy, you know, touchy-feely kind of stuff. But I personally think it's really important to your success.
Absolutely. Well, see, the thing is you actually mentioned earlier about reading all types of business books. The part that people don't understand, we've been taught for so many years that business is separate from our personal lives. I teach something completely different. What I teach is that your business affects your life affects your business. And this is what's missing in entrepreneurship and a lot of businesses. This is where the breakdown and the emotional connections between the business owner and the consumer is falling, because they don't have a clear understanding that it takes the personal development to actually carry out the business structure, the revenue, the engaging your consumer, all those different things. And not only that, this filters into their personal lives. I know so many business owners who I will not name that are very successful in their businesses, but internally, I mean, they have a lot of things going on. There's a lot of emotional disconnect. There's a lot of limiting beliefs. There's a lot of just things that they've been dealing with, even going back to childhood, all these different types of things that they have not really dealt with. So when a client comes across to me and they say, you know what, Meiyoko, I want to help as an entrepreneur. I want to grow my business. I want to increase my brand. All that's fine and well. One of the first things I ask them is, why are you here? What led you to this point? And 9 times out of 10, believe it or not, it has nothing to do with business. It is something personal that has gone on, something that they've been holding on to, whether it's a belief, whether it's an emotion, something, and it's affecting their entire life. People don't understand. That's what makes me different. These are issues and these are obstacles that need to be overcome. It's like having a tree, right? Huge tree. So the tree is just killing everything in sight. So we start chopping down the branches. What happens? The root is still intact. So the branches continue to grow. No matter how many times you chop off the branches are going to grow because you haven't gotten to the root of the problem.
You're so right.
And this is what people don't realize. The root of the problem is never externally with the business. It's here and it's here. And that people completely bypass that with their products. Oh, I'll make you a millionaire overnight. Or, oh, you can be an amazing business owner. How I went to $0 to $100,000. All that is fine and well if you're teaching that strategy. But the reality of it is total fulfillment of a person. You cannot ignore the mindset, the heart, and the personal development. Personal. Success is personal.
True. That right there, that is very true. And I don't think that people often, like you just mentioned, I don't think that people very often make that connection, understand that connection. Wait a minute. I just realized I didn't read your bio. I'm like, really?
That's not a problem.
I know, right? This whole 5 o'clock thing is really, I have to get reacclimated. But I just realized, I forgot to mention that you're from Mount Holly, New Jersey. You know I'm in Cape May, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Another South Jersey.
Yes, exactly. And I meant to read your bio, but you guys are going to understand exactly who he is by the time we're done this interview, for sure. So, to share with our listeners what the #1 mistake is that people make when starting a business. Before you answer, I want to say hi to Ron Edwards. How are you, darling? Ron Edwards is the person I was talking about earlier, who has a new show coming out soon, and who's Ron Edwards' notebook you heard during the break. Okay, now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so the number one issue, one of the biggest reasons why people fail in business or they're not successful, or they hit a roadblock, is because, one, they don't know who they are, and two, they have yet to have a vision. And this is one of the things that I've learned early on. Me talking to you right now is part of my vision being fulfilled. Direction on where you're going. But you can't have a vision unless you truly know who you are. So most people are going on through life, developing careers that their parents wanted them to have, doing things that sound good and look good, but don't really necessarily feel good. They're not passionate about it. It's not truly what they love to do. So until you actually have that level of awareness and say, hey, you know what, let me stop for a second. How do my life work out this way? What am I doing? Are these things truly making me happy? Most people, believe it or not, there's many people in this world today who are living a version of someone else's life.
Now, as a good friend of mine will say, that'll preach.
It's the truth. Most people are living a version of somebody else's life. And it takes some time. It takes a traumatic period, an awakening where they're like, oh my God, how did I get here? How did I get to this point? Then they start really go searching into themselves. Then it becomes a period of self-discovery. Then they truly reconnect. Most people know who they were at some point. They just lost it through adulthood and just through the process of life. But sometimes it takes a traumatic event to bring them back to that self-discovery. Oh, man, I haven't been in touch with that emotion for so long. This is what I truly love to do. So now it's kind of remolding yourself to the person who you really are, the person you were meant to be. Once you find that out, it's easier to have a vision. How can you have a vision when you don't really know what it is that you're passionate about? You don't really know what your purpose is to do. You don't really know. So when I started to figure these things out, I started to visualize everything that I wanted to do. And I thought about it, I wrote it down, had my vision board. I can close my eyes, tell you who's there, who's not there, what colors are going on, where the scenery is, exactly what I'm doing. And the reason why this is so important is because most people in business, they fear rejection. I have a saying, when you have a vision, there is no such thing as rejection. I'm going to say that again.
Please do.
When you have a vision, there is no such thing as rejection.
And what's that mean?
Let me tell you what happens when you have a vision. You're walking down a path. The vision is already there. You just need people to come along with you on the journey, whether it's strategic partners, whether it's your consumers. So if you approach somebody that says, oh, you know what? This is not for me, sorry. This is something I don't want to involve myself in. That's not a problem. They're not in your vision. They're just somebody that's there. You're filling everybody out. But if you have a vision, you already know the customers are going to be there. The people are going to be there. You just have to be in alignment with your mission and what you're continuing to do. And I'm telling you, it sounds cheesy, but I will tell you right now, I have developed a dream team and people who are in alignment with my vision, my mission, and what I'm purposed to do in a professional environment. And I didn't hammer the phones. I didn't beat my head in or run around like a chicken with my head cut off. It just aligned itself. Because what happens is when you're directed and your purpose and you have that vision in sight, to connect with people that believe the same, that have the same objectives. Their vision may be slightly different, but it's the same. To help impact people, to add value to other people's lives. You start meeting amazing people this way. And this is the number one mistake people make. They don't spend enough time to realize who they really are and to develop a vision for their life. Most people, company has a vision statement and a mission statement. Okay, we all heard of those things. But what about your personal mission, your personal vision outside of your company? So I teach my clients, okay, having a company vision is awesome, but what about that vision that encompasses your whole life? Your natural state, your spiritual state, the way you communicate, your relationships, and your business. Because all of it plays a very important part in you as a human being. That's why I hate when people call me a motivational speaker. I absolutely hate it.
No, why is that?
Because I'm not the type of person that's going to get on stage and say, you can do it and make the best out of your life, and I made $1 million, and you can too. Thank you, good night, give me your money. That's how most of them are. Now, some I know are very awesome. Motivation has its place, but motivation without implementation is simply hype. You have to have a mixture. Motivation with implementation. You have to have that.
Well, people just want to feel good. Like, no, nobody wants to know that, like, once they get done being motivated, that, like, there's another step actually doing the work.
Well, see, that's why you have action. You are motivating people to take action. You're not just motivating people to feel good. You want to motivate people to take action. So as you're motivating people, and this is the important thing. If you look at a lot of personal development people, a lot of people that write these success books, half of them, and I have to say it, half of them have never even lived the lives that they portray. They treat it as a business, and they come up with some type of story, and it sounds good, and then they market themselves that way. But then the other people become successful. The other people become successful, but they forget where they come from. Now they have the house on the hill. They're all successful. One of the things that I truly am adamant about is I want people to perceive me as I am just a human being. I have clawed and dug my way by God's grace.
Amen.
I want people to understand that.
Yes.
And I'm a very approachable person. I don't care what I'm doing. Or people say, oh my God, oh, that's awesome, the things you've done. Look, that's just an accomplishment. My value, my purpose and objective is to help as many people as I can. So I always have this level-headed personality. And I'll tell people, sometimes I don't want to talk to anybody. Sometimes I'm a little stressed. Sometimes I need to chill out.
Right.
But this is what people need to hear. And a lot of people don't hear this in entrepreneurship. They put this book bag on and say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur because it sounds attractive, it sounds sexy. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, so not sexy.
But they don't realize it's glamorized that way.
Right.
But they don't realize that there's going to be a lot of obstacles. There are going to be tears. Your closest relatives and your family may not support you. Not because they don't want to, but they don't understand it. When I started to make a decision to become an entrepreneur, my parents, I love them truly, and we're very close, always been very close. My father was so apprehensive. My mother was like, what are you doing? Your brother works for Lockheed Martin, he's got degrees, your sister's an accountant, other one's an RN. What are you doing? You're taking such a huge risk. So it was to protect me, but what they didn't know is a vision was there. And what I'll say to people who are entrepreneurs, you are visionaries. You have a vision, but you have to understand that it's your vision. It's nobody else's. When the vision develops and people start to see the money and the media and all that, they'll come along and they'll support you. But don't take it personal. You were given that vision. They weren't.
Oh,
and that's okay.
You just said a mouthful right there. Don't take it personal. And you were given that vision, they weren't.
Absolutely. And I think people, and I made that mistake starting out. I was just like, oh my God, I got this amazing vision, this amazing idea. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to do everything. And when I told my parents and I told people close to me, it was just like, that sounds awesome, man.
I can relate. I left. I was a public school teacher, which is, the cornerstone of stability, stable jobs, public school teacher, pension, summers off, the whole nine. Why in God's name would you leave for your own to do a radio show that you have to monetize and that you have to, do all this media. So why would you leave those comforts and do that? And like you said, it's by God's grace. It's a calling, and you start to realize that, it's something that you need to do.
Exactly. And you said a very important thing, and that takes me back to rejection. For something, and you truly know deep down in your bones this is what you're supposed to be doing, you may have a sense of kind of hesitant about rejection, but it's so minute because you're focused. You're meant to do this. Like, for example, for me, my whole method was, if I can change somebody's life, if I can make sure that someone doesn't have to go down the same path that I did, where they don't have to reconnect to who they truly are, and say, you know what, Mom, Dad, I love you, but you know what? This is me. This is who I am. I'm the entrepreneur. I'm the creative person. I have a vision. This is what I see. This is what I'm going to do.
There's one in every family. You're the
absolutely.
You're that one. I'm that one too.
I'm literally the oddball. And surprisingly enough, now when I do talk to my mother and my father, and I tell them things that I'm doing, they just smile. They're like, I was talking to my mother in the kitchen one day, and she said, you know what, son? She said, I'm glad you didn't give up. But she didn't know there were so many times that I wanted to. Many times that I cried because nobody understood the vision and the direction that I had. And it was tough. This is why I can stand here and say with passion, you're going to have those moments, but it's okay. Do not take it personal like I did. You don't have to take it personal, because when that vision starts to come and everything starts rolling in, and the media comes and your mother sees you in a major magazine publication, then it's just like, oh my God.
Oh, it blows people's minds, right?
So now it's just like, this is what I was working so hard for. Now you start to see it, but I already saw it. It's just being manifested in a material way now. Indeed. So I already saw it before it even happened. I see so much more even beyond what we're doing now. You have to be a visionary if you're an entrepreneur. You have to be.
That is so true. Oh, I love that. Now, this is a very important topic that I'm going to ask you about, which is self-sabotage. And many times it is subconscious. And you want to talk about like good versus evil, and just from a spiritual perspective, many times the enemy will get in there and just mess with you.
Absolutely.
Right? But go ahead.
See, here's the thing. It's the 4-letter word. You know what I'm going to say. You cannot even have self-sabotage in motion. EAR is present.
Yes.
Fear.
Yep.
We can have a whole segment talking about fear all by itself.
Yes.
Fear is the nucleus, the root to procrastination, to disorganization, to not really wanting to get out of your comfort zone. And what happens is you start making excuses for why you can't, because you're afraid. A lot of people are not afraid that they can. Most people are afraid that they can. What happens then?
Oh, that's good.
I have some clients. They are amazing people. Some of my clients are celebrities. They are amazing people. But you will be surprised how many are actually afraid of achieving a certain level of success. But they don't see it that way, because somebody needs to point it out and say, okay, what type of action are you taking? Why are you making this decision? Then it's just like, oh my God, I am deliberately doing this because I don't know what happens next.
There's a sense of not having control. And one thing about people like that, and I'm of course speaking about friends that I know, not myself. You got to
make that disclaimer.
Of course I'm talking about friends. I'm asking and talking for friends. But there's people who tend to be entrepreneurs also tend to be a little type A, a little control freakish. And that part of entrepreneurship, of not knowing what's going to happen next, will freak people like that out.
Absolutely. I have to make an important point because you said something. When I first started out as an entrepreneur, I thought I had to do everything by myself. And I started to come into what a vision was and realizing that you needed people to help you along the way. So I met an amazing man. His name is Trevor Otts. He's one of the co-founders of Black CEO. And it was a very big conversation, and we talked about having a vision. And he probably didn't even know this to this day. Our wavelengths were right there. So he said, you know what? He reached a plateau in his business, owning the vision, and the vision wasn't mine. And I said, you know what? Explain what you mean. He said, you were blessed to be given the vision. You're just a steward. So what you have to do is now the vision's in motion. You have to go and engage every single person you meet along your journey to make that vision come to pass. You were just fortunate enough to be a steward. And when he explained that to me, it just connected everything on a much deeper level. And I say that to say this: we as entrepreneurs sometimes think we got boss of everything, be this, be that, be that. No, work harder on what you're best at.
But we're best at everything.
Yeah, right. Focus on your strengths, delegate your weaknesses. That is like one of my mottos.
There
Focus
it
on
is.
your strengths, delegate your weaknesses. I have someone that I'm developing a curriculum right now based on the book that I'm going to teach to corporations and businesses. She's been a curriculum writer. She's an amazing person. She's an entrepreneur. Delegate that. I'm working on a program dealing with Black youth and professional athletes, a leadership program. She's working on that. I delegate because the ideas are here, but I can't do everything by myself.
Right.
I'm not the most organized person in the world. So I'm delegating that.
And I can tell you from experience, curriculum writing is not for the faint of heart. It's boring and
she's
detailed. Yeah.
She is brilliant at it. Her name is Beverly Cribs. She is brilliant at it. Brilliant. Me, that's going to take me a long time to do.
Right.
So why would I take time out of that when I can be in my zone and in my skill set, continuing to push the vision forward?
That makes so
that's
much
what
sense.
entrepreneurs need to understand. We make it so hard on ourselves. Don't make it hard on yourself. If you start a business tomorrow, you have that vision. The first question you need to ask yourself is, so what type of people do I need to get in my car with me?
Oh, I love it. Hold that thought. We're up against the break. Okay. What kind of people do I need to get in my car with me? Hold that thought. I have to repeating it, so hopefully I remember it by the other side of the break.
You know, I got you.
All right. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette. I have Meiyoko Taylor with me this afternoon, and we are talking about business success, but we are really talking about the personal side of business success and what it takes. We're getting beyond the textbook and talking about you and your life and the personal side of business success. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. Elites fear one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and obstacles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe. Look, Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Tackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Tackhead Sean and Tackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who has to work here too. But for those who are tuning in around the world to the best late-night conservative talk, Tackheads Radio. The best late-night conservative talk show in America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the tax benefits of different forms of financing, spot and fix errors in the 1099s, legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Start deducting today. Visit TaxMama.com. TaxMama.com. That's TaxMama with 1M.com.
Okay, we are back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette, and I have Meiyoko Taylor with me this afternoon. I keep wanting to say this morning, but it is indeed it is amazing how habitual we are. I'm always just amazed by that. Habits. It's really bothered. Well, ever since the inception of my show, it's been at 10 o'clock, and now it's at 5, which I'm quite enjoying. Anywho, who should we have in the car with us? I remembered. See.
Yeah, you remember it, the mind is still sharp.
Oh, barely.
Okay, so when you do have that vision for entrepreneurs, now you have to figure out who do I want or who do I need. Not want, who do I need to have in my car with me? So what that does is it has you to look at a certain level of awareness. Who's in your circle? Who's there that shouldn't be? Who are empowering me? Who are draining me? And see, this is where you really get into the reality of starting to make some real major shifts in your life. Because a lot of people hang around with certain people who are negative. They're not ambitious. They're not supportive. And they hang around these environments and they wonder why they continue to be stuck. Sometimes it's just your environment.
You know, that is really tough. And you bring about an important point because you don't want to start kind of like cutting people off, right? Like, you don't, that's not what you want to happen. That's not who you want to be, right? But at the same time, there's something to be said about having, you know, the negative Nancy's, so to speak, in your life that are not going to co-sign your vision.
Absolutely. Let me clarify this. Sometimes we have family. We have some family that can be very negative. We have to interact with them for the remainder of our lives. Now, what I do when I have family that are negative, there's a certain expiration of time that I allow them to have if they're just going to be completely negative. then of course, I have to distance myself from the situation. But let's say you do have an environment that's negative. Sometimes when we change, the environment that we're around, they have a desire to change. So that's a different circumstance. We may have a friend or someone close to us that sees the changes and they don't understand what changes we're going through. But they say, hey, you know what? My best friend or this person is doing it. I really want to change, but I don't know how. That particular person is different from someone that's like, you can't do that. What you doing that for? Oh, now you think you're better than everybody else now? Oh, because you call yourself a little bit of success. You was on that little TV show. Now you think you're better than everybody else. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, actually, I already know what that is. I was going to say what is that, but what that?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When you have people that cannot celebrate with you, but they are smiling, but behind that smile, they're hoping that you fail.
Yeah, and there's envy behind that too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Those are the people that I'm truly talking about. Those particular people that, regardless of how successful you become or what impact you make on someone's life or your own, or the family's or your environment, they are always going to be that particular person that is smiling on the outside, but in the inside, they are praying that you fail.
It's true, and I hate the fact that it's true. I hate to say that it's true.
Reality. These are the things people do not talk about.
It's true. It's true. Now, I want to talk to you about two things I definitely want to make sure that we get to. Overcoming fear and self-confidence. I think we edged around fear, but we didn't talk about how to overcome that fear. So talk to us a little bit about how to overcome fear.
Let me ask you this, and I'll ask the viewers this question. Is it possible to overcome fear, or should you understand it and know how to use it to your advantage?
There it is. And
that's the question, because
feel the fear and do
fear
it anyway.
is an emotion. Fear is something we are always going to have. But here's what I learned when it comes to fear. The sweaty palms, the headache, the fast heartbeat, all those things going on, the anxiety, the tension, right? Fear is designed, we were given that by God as a mechanism to alert us where potential danger is near, okay? So fear is very useful if it is used the right way. But here's the problem, that potential new opportunity calls, that new job opens up, or the opportunity to start that business you've been dreaming about. Clear path, but now that same sweaty palms, that same headache, that same heartbeat, that same, all that anxiety, the tension is the same. And what happens is you take that as danger. So now what you do, you know what? Man, that is an amazing opportunity to have my own business right now. And it's really the perfect time, but I don't have a degree. You know what? But I have a criminal record. I messed up when I was young. I did some bad things. I did some wrong. I'm a good person, but I don't think everybody will look at me like I should because I have a criminal record, which they don't really know about.
Right.
Or, you know what? It is kind of far to get in. I'm not used to driving that far. You see what I'm doing? I'm starting to create excuses, the silliest excuses when it comes to entrepreneurship. I'm making all these excuses as to why I can't. And what it is I'm feeling the fear. So what I tell people is this: fear will always feel the same. It's not going to be any different. I don't care how successful you become. You are always going to experience some level of fear. I don't care who you are. I've talked to some very successful people, some very unmotivated people. Fear is the same across the board. I mean, you can talk to some of these people that a lot of people so-called idolize and see on these magazines, see on television. They will tell you, you know what? I was scared today. I was so nervous. And then you look at them like, what? Listen, I'm nervous every time I speak.
Actresses and musicians and actors are like the most insecure, scared
folks
you will ever meet.
Look at them like, oh my God, how do they do this? Oh, look at them. And
they'll tell you.
They are scared to death up there. until they go out on stage, until they actually start singing and they get in their zone.
Yep, absolutely.
And this is them every single night, every single performance. And this is what I want. This is what people need to understand. Just because you've reached a certain level of greatness, you so-called arrived, so to speak. Those feelings are still going to be there, because that part of yourself is still going to say, you're getting out of your comfort zone. Let's pull you back now. You're still going to face that. It's always going to be there.
I feel like there's a part of that that is helpful, though. Like, I feel
Absolutely. Now, this is where I love it, because you're bringing me right into my point. Using fear to your advantage. So if there's an opportunity that presents itself, and you have enough knowledge and awareness to know, wait a second, this can allow me to accomplish in 1 year than it would have taken me 10 years. If I take this opportunity, I'm making a quantum leap to a certain level of success that I don't have to go all these years in between if I take this chance. So now I start sweating again.
Right.
The limiting beliefs start to churn. Do you really think you're good enough? So all those things are the same, by the way. I still get those.
Right.
By the way. They're still the same, but I know why it's happening. So I'm like, this is an opportunity that I have to take, because I'm not comfortable with it. So when I take that leap and it gets me to that level of success, and here's the funny thing, people everywhere, everybody listening to this, the feeling goes away.
That's true.
We do not realize that. The feeling goes away when we absolutely screw it up. And we don't take the opportunity, the feeling's gone now. And then what happens is we get depressed, we have regret, we start getting sad. What if I did this? I should have did this. What would have happened? Now you're torturing yourself, because you know that you allowed your fear to ruin a potentially great opportunity to propel yourself to the next level. It goes away when you make that choice. Just like when you make the choice to make the jump and you reach that certain level of success, fear is like, oh, you got me, huh? Yep. Okay. All right, until next time, because there's going to be another time where you have to get out of your comfort zone, and I'll be right there.
That's so true. And when I face that, one thing that I found really helpful is just this tiny mental exercise that always kind of gets me over the hump, which is this: if you don't, you definitely won't be successful. If you don't ask, the answer will definitely be no. So the only way when you have that thought in your head regarding any of these risks that we're talking about, it is to say to yourself, well, it absolutely won't be if you don't do it. So is that what you want, or do you want to take the chance and have it move on? Okay, we need to close the show, but before we go, tell the audience how they can get in touch with you, how they can avail themselves of your services, etc.
Okay, so they can go type me at www.meiyokotaylor.com. It's M as in Mary, EIYOKO Taylor.com. I'm very active on social media. So on Twitter, it's Meiyoko Taylor, and Instagram, it's Meiyoko Taylor. On Facebook, my page is official Meiyoko Taylor, and I respond. I'm very interactive, so I'd love to hear from you guys. Any suggestions, any things that you're dealing with. If you want to actually look into having me coach you on any situation, your business, anything that you're struggling with, you can get in touch with me that way as well.
I love it. Thank you so much, Meiyoko, for being on the show.
Find You're Amazing, 5 Steps to Transform Your Life is available on Amazon. You need to get that book, not because I wrote it, but that book will change your life. It will give you another perspective, a much needed one.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Such an enjoyable interview.
I enjoyed myself.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely, if you'll have me.
Absolutely. You have a great day.
You too.
You are listening to Money Talk with Melanie. This is your business diva, Melanie Collette, and that was Meiyoko Taylor, who was just a fantastic guest. So glad that he was on the show today. I want you all to remember that all of this is very important because it's your money. Let's see. Let's see.